Yeah. So what? It's your boy, Bitz and Bobz. Yes, people. Thursday evening, Man United won a game. Feeling absolutely fantastic. What can we say? But listen, I have got a guest tonight. Okay. She is one of Geordie, if not one, the Geordie's finest. She's a blonde bombshell. She's also a colleague of mine on the Football Terrace. Shout out, Terry. She's also a massive football fanatic and a fellow YouTuber. Kendall, tell me when to stop, and I'll stop.
Carry on going. It's you all night, all right.
Everyone, their nan and their gran, ladies and gents, please welcome Kendall to my show. Kendall, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I might just use you as the introduction for all your videos now, just, get Bobz on to do the introduction. I'm here for it.
Feel free to clip it up, and if you need me to do a voiceover, happily. Obviously, Kendall, you're looking amazing. You look amazing. I know it's tough out there in lockdown. You can't get pretty to go anywhere, so it's nice just to put the makeup on. Not for me, but obviously for yourself, obviously.
Sure about that one. Sounds like you're speaking for experience there.
But listen. Thank you for coming on. So, 2021, we're a month and a half into it, still under lockdown. What's it been like for you?
Lockdown's been strange, to be honest, just in general since the beginning of obviously last year. This is the longest I've ever been out of work since I was 15 and a half. So it's
really?
It's insane. Yeah, because I worked all through uni as well. So it's the longest I've ever been out of work. And obviously my line of work, which is obviously the aviation industry, I was cabin crew. So our job was probably one of the first to stop. At the time.
For those who don't know what that means, Kendall, can you explain it to them?
What, cabin crew?
Yeah.
So like an air hostess, basically. So, I do short haul Europe, which I don't fly over 5.5 hours. So Cyprus and Turkey are my longest flights that I do. And just basically attending, obviously, everyone on the flight. If you've ever flown before, you will know what cabin crew and air hostesses do. But it's a nice job. We don't. The exits are here. It's a nice job. It's people think it's like a glamorous job, but it's tiring. It's very tiring because I don't know if you've obviously ever noticed this. You probably don't really realize until you're on long haul, but because the air is, this is going to sound really technical now, but because the air in an aeroplane is recycled air, obviously that's how it keeps the oxygen levels in when you're flying. It makes you jet lagged really easily because the oxygen levels are quite low. So obviously you're not getting enough oxygen to your brain to keep you alert, which is why even regardless of how long your flight is, you kind of feel tired when you've been traveling. So it is a bit of a nightmare because we don't do layovers or anything with us being short haul. We just do fly there, do about an hour and a half layover, tidy the plane and come straight back. So it's it is really, really tiring, but it is a good job and I do love it.
Well, do you know what? I think it's good. Travel, such a sensitive word right now, isn't it? For those who do like to travel, and for families that travel and obviously the singletons and the party goers and stuff, it is a tough time. So you went from to being looking after people on their flights to entertaining people on YouTube.
Yeah, a bit of a 360.
Why? How? And please explain.
So basically, I started I would say I didn't start a YouTube channel, but I kind of uploaded 2 videos at the beginning of last year, strangely. It's I had a premonition this is going to happen. And I've just seen that comment. Let's just ignore that after that.
We'll get to that. Don't you worry. We'll get to that.
Yeah, and so I uploaded 2 videos and just left it. Didn't really pay any attention. I love football, always have done. It's always been a massive part of my life. And we'll probably divulge into it a little bit later, just family-wise and stuff with football. But in August, September last year, I was asked to go on Sky Sports News and talk about like the Mike Ashley saga, because when the takeover fell through with Newcastle United. Obviously, I'm a Newcastle United fan, for anyone that doesn't know that. And
not a Sunderland fan, guys.
No, absolutely not. Even though I do get called Mackham a lot, really strangely, when I speak on. Everyone always puts comments on like, she's a Mackham. I'm like, I'm really not from Sunderland. Like, I'm from Durham, so like, I'm like bang in the middle. And yeah, so I got asked to go on Sky Sports News just through the Magpie channel, which is another like a Newcastle channel that I've done stuff with in the past, fan cams and stuff like that. But never really did it full time, just did it like here and there, maybe it's a game here and there. And yeah, Matty from the Magpie channel put me forward to go on Sky Sports, and I went on Sky Sports. And then Steve Wraith, who is like a big journalist he's not a journalist, he's like I don't know, he's just like a legend in the Newcastle scene. I don't even know what to call him, really. He was doing like a ladies panel for Newcastle United and stuff. So he put a tweet out saying, does anyone know any, really passionate Newcastle fans? And honestly, about 50 people tagged me. I was like, oh God, is this what I'm known for? Is this what I'm literally known for here? So yeah, and then the podcast started for the NUFC Matters podcast started for the ladies' night, and that was September time, and it's just bang forward from there, really. Met obviously like a couple of you guys. Met Aaron, who was on the Football Terrace before. I met him through the Magpie channel. He asked me to come and do a Man United Newcastle preview on the Football Terrace. Got beat 4-1. And yeah, got asked to be on the Football Terrace, did that. And then Terry reached out to me and was like, do you want to be a part of it? I'd love you to be part of, our regular panelists and stuff. And here I am. I've got my own show now, and here I am, yeah.
So that's all happening, okay? And obviously you're still getting over the heartbreak of not being able to do your job, furlough, lockdown, and now you're doing content, okay? Now, for a minority, unfortunately, I have to say, they don't like women talking about football.
Nope.
And, we've seen it all. I say we've seen it all. I mean, we've seen everything, haven't we? Nothing can really shock us in this world right now, especially in the pandemic. But Geordies, I've been to Newcastle. I've went to the stadium. You guys, I think it was the West Ham game. I think you guys beat West Ham.
Yes.
Matt Ritchie scored a couple of years ago. Yeah. Listen, loved it. When we went, it was just like, whoa, these people are mad. But one thing we did notice, there was loads of females. Now, what's it like being a female Newcastle fan? And on the back of that, what's it like being a female YouTuber?
When I was growing up, I was pretty much one of the only girls in school who liked football. I didn't play it, but I liked football and I could hold my own in a conversation. And I didn't really know many other women who liked football or girls at the time. So that was a bit crazy.
Were you a tomboy, Kendall?
Everyone always thinks it's really weird because I actually am like a serious tomboy when it comes to sports and stuff, but I am like the most girly girl that my whole house is like pink. My bedroom's pink. Honestly, just everything's pink. So honestly, I'm a game of two halves, me, honestly. But to be fair, growing up, I probably wouldn't have been allowed to not be interested in football. My granddad has been interested in football from day one. He used to be physio for England in the 70s. Wow. He's done every single level of football. My dad's played football. He still plays now at 54 years old. My brother plays football. My auntie married Bobby Robson's son. So it's my whole existence is football. So I kind of couldn't get away from it, really. But yeah, I mean, it didn't really bother me growing up. As I say, I didn't really get slandered for it growing up. I think it was kind of a different environment. It's only till I've got into Twitter and things like that. Even before I started doing content creation, there was trolls on Twitter who used to just call out, try and use my appearance against my football opinions for some reason. This has been going on for, years now, 3 years, I would say.
Yeah, okay.
There's a certain group of individuals within the NUFC fan base who would direct and like all the trolling towards me. It even got to a point where they would like make racially aggravated comments towards my daughter, who is mixed race, and it was just things like that. Like
That's
they were just
sad.
making,
Very sad.
yeah, really sad. So they kind of like laid off a bit until I started YouTube and obviously getting, you know, a bit more out there and putting myself out there a little bit more. I must say, I would say 90% of it since I started obviously YouTube the end of last year has been positive, and it's been lovely. Like I've met so many amazing, genuine people who I will honestly call my friends when this is over. Yes. I have to say that I'm on here now. Like genuinely met some amazing people who, as I say, I will call friends even when, you know, we meet up in person and stuff. But 10% of it has been very, very nasty, like to a point. And it's strange because I find probably 5%, I would even say more, maybe 7% of that 10% of nastiness is from my own Newcastle fans, which is really sad and really strange. And it's a side of my fan base that I never really thought I would see. Which is really, really sad. And there's been direct trolling with me. Sav, another girl who I do the podcasts with, who probably a lot of you have seen around, me and her specifically have been targeted hugely within the NUFC fan base. There's been, like, even Terry saw a few months ago, there was like a thing where someone, like one of the trolls, photoshopped my head onto like this white woman's body who adopted loads of teenagers, African teenagers. And there's like a big story. Yeah, there was like a big story about her in the Sun and how she has dedicated her life to these teenage boys, and she, you know, brought them up really well, and she's always made sure they've gone to school and stuff. And someone photoshopped my head on there, and they were like, "Oh, this is what you want to do. Like, you want to be involved in all this," like making it a really negative thing. Really, really strange. But
okay.
It just weird behavior, to be honest. I can't even believe someone would be that obsessed with us. Like someone hates us that much to like do stuff like that. That's so weird. But yeah, as I say, most of it's been positive. It's just the fact that, you know, like misogynists will use like the fact that you're a female to disagree with it. They won't even disagree with your opinion necessarily. They'll just make it so that they disagree with you because you're a female, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
And obviously your appearance is always brought into it. And I know a lot of women on the YouTube scene and on the football Twitter scene especially will have experienced that, I think. So it is sad. It's really sad.
It's not sad. It's actually embarrassing for people that are doing it. Do you know what's funny, isn't it? As you grow up, you say, when you're asked, like, if you're young, you're a teenager, and you say, "Oh, I wish my girlfriend was into football," or, you know, you see the Tom girls playing Kirby or playing kicker, do you know what I mean, football and stuff. And then I think it's really funny that these girls that we talk about or stereotype to say, are actually doing it now. Yeah, people are still stereotyping you guys and calling you names. I just want to touch on obviously your daughter and stuff. Your daughter's mixed race. What is that like for you? Because obviously you're a white female, okay, and your daughter's mixed race. So just on a personal level, because obviously my son's mixed race. So like, how do you find that when it comes to the combing the hair, the relaxing?
Luckily for me, so my daughter is half Mauritian. So her hair it's. How can I explain it? It's not on the sort of like Afro, like 4C curl. It's nothing like that.
Got you.
It's just thick and like it's wiry. That's the only way I can explain it. It's wiry, like frisbee is what I call her. It's frisbee hair. So her, in that sense, her hair is okay. Things I've had to learn is like her skin gets a lot drier than mine does. So like just certain things that she has to be moisturized a lot. And products that will work for me don't work for her. Obviously she is only 3, so I am still learning in that sense, and you know, learning as I go. Luckily I was brought up around, even though I live in Durham, and Durham as an area is probably not as culturally diverse as a lot of other places in the country. My friendship group growing up was very culturally diverse, so I learned quite a bit then. I found out certain things then, and yeah, it's just been a learning curve really. She isn't, if I say mixed race, so she's she is quite light skinned still. She's very, very light skinned.
Okay.
Because her birth father he's not mixed race. He is fully Mauritian, but he is quite light skinned himself. So
okay.
She's just got really dark features, which is obviously not me. Like naturally, you'd think different looking at us now, but I am genuinely naturally dark blonde, green eyes, freckles. But she's like tan skin, brown eyes, like brown hair. We're just like complete opposite, to be honest. Like
but do you not think that's the beautiful thing, though?
Yeah, because, I love it. I love it. Because even though we are opposite, she still has my features. So I love that. I love that about it. It's just amazing. Like it's just, obviously you'll feel the same. It's just like a part of you, but it's just, it is amazing.
Bitz and Bobz Jr. is my greatest achievement.
Yeah.
So 100%. So I feel you on that. So, I mean, we talked about YouTube slightly, and we're going to get into football. However, you were on a TV show.
I was, yes.
Yes, you were on Take Me Out.
I was, yes.
Now,
2018.
I mean, yeah. So, I mean, how does that happen? And talk to me. I mean, because I mean, I do you know what's funny? I actually have seen you on TV. This is the thing.
I think people don't know it was me, I guess, because like I had blue hair and stuff at the time, so people don't really click on until later on. They're like, I've seen you somewhere before. Like, have you? And they're like, yeah, but I don't know where it is. And then as it further gets down the conversation, you're like, that's where I've seen you. But yeah, it was a bit of a mad thing. Honestly, don't get me wrong, it was an amazing experience. Like, I still speak to some of the girls I met on there every single day, up until this day now. One of the girls is like practically my daughter's godmother, like absolutely loves her, calls her Auntie Jade, and everything like that. So yeah, basically what happened was I was approached on Instagram first and asked to go to a casting. And we went, and I think it was in like this hotel in Newcastle. There's this big hotel in Newcastle called, like, obviously Jury's Inn is everywhere, but if you ever come across the Tyne Bridge in Newcastle, you always see this massive Jury's Inn hotel. And it was in there, and they basically just like did a screen test. So you had to explain, you know, like just a little bit about your life, what you did, like icebreakers where you did like 2 truths and a lie, just things like that, and everyone had to guess the lie. And then at the end of the day, you were told if they wanted you to be on the new series or not. And that was that. So yeah, so I went, there was I think it was 10 of us there. And 3 of us were chosen for the show. And that was like the July, and then we filmed in the November. So in Kent. And it was 2 weeks filming. So you all stayed in a hotel together, all the original 30 plus like 3 stand-ins.
Okay.
And then it was a pretty brutal process, to be honest. Like, if they didn't like it was just like, bye. Like,
are you serious?
Yeah, like genuinely just like so yeah, but it was really good. It was very supportive process. It was very you kind of directed the narrative. And if you weren't happy with something, you could tell them and they would change it, like just things that if you looked like, clothes you wore. But it was a genuinely amazing experience. And as I say, like, those friends that I've met, I still speak to every single day now that I met from there.
Would you do it again?
I would absolutely do it again. I would definitely do like that sort of environment of show again. I mean, I got approached for a couple afterwards. After it aired, so we filmed in 2018, end of 2018, and then it didn't get aired till November 2019. So literally a year after we filmed it, and it was obviously the last series that is ever going to be. Love you, man. You're such a joker, honestly.
Shout out to everyone in the comments. Please smash a like. If you're new, please drop a subscription. Okay, so from one screen to another screen, Sky Sports News. Believe it's twice now.
Yes.
Yeah? Yes.
Twice.
So, I mean, obviously there was no buzzers on Sky Sports. So, I mean, what is it like? Do you get a text, do you get a call and say you're on, or what's the process?
In Sky Sports. So
yeah, Sky Sports, yeah.
So when I did it the first time, obviously I got put forward. Keith Downey, who was like the Northeast reporter for Sky Sports News, he covers all Northeast football. Matty, as I say, from the Magpie channel, just kind of gave him my number, and he asked if I wanted to go on. We did I think it was a Zoom call. I don't know if it was streaming out a Zoom, and it just went from there. And the second time, because he had that sort of like work relationship he already knew, and he knew what I came across like on screen and how I kind of articulate myself and stuff. He messaged me a few weeks ago and said, do you want to come on again and speak about Steve Bruce? And I actually, at first I said to him, I don't know if that's a good idea. Like, I really don't. I don't know if I should or not. And he was like, no, just come on, it'll be fine. We edit it, and you kind of do like you do a lengthy interview, and they just kind of clip up what they want. Because the first time I was on Sky Sports News, there were so many things I said about Mike Ashley, and only like 2 minutes of it was used. So it's like, and I got loads of hate. They were like, oh, you didn't even say much about him. Like, you must be a supporter of him. You didn't even really like vilify him that much. And I was like, it's edited. Like, you really don't realize that I said so many things in that interview. Like, and they only used literally like 10% of it. So you genuinely don't know what I have said or not.
Real talk.
So, I love it.
They're going to edit it, right? Do you know, because of the time and the space and stuff. So, obviously, okay, you've been vilified for supporting Mike Ashley. Newcastle United Football Club, the football team right now. I mean, I'm not going to say anything bad about your club. I'll leave that to you. What's going on? Because I remember when I was growing up, Aspirations, I remember the day I watched the game that he scored a hat-trick against Barcelona. I watched that with my uncles and stuff. And Newcastle, to me, have always been a team that always played attacking football, just never got there, They were just nearly men. And that's not me trolling Newcastle. That's me just saying how I saw it.
No,
now,
that's a fair judgment.
Yeah, and fast forward to now, like, what's going on, Kendall?
It's actually depressing from my point of view, because I was born in 1995, so I really missed the golden years of, recent Newcastle, if you will. Because mid-90s was, the entertainers era. It was the time we were 12 points clear at the top of the table, and Man United ended up winning it. So I kind of missed all of that that time, because I mean, yes, it happened when I was alive, but I was only 2-3 year old, and I didn't really get into football until the early 2000s when Bobby Robson was the manager. Got you. So I mean, I was into football, but in terms of actually understanding the game and watching it and going to games and stuff. So, and then obviously Mike Ashley's been the owner since 2006, so pretty much all of my Newcastle support and life has been under Mike Ashley ownership. Which is tough. Hard. Very, very, very hard. It's the absolute worst. So I don't really remember any of that situation. I know a couple of people say, like Danny in our group chat, he's always like, oh, well, you hounded out the previous owner. I'm like, well, I personally didn't, because I was only blooming 7-year-old. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at the time, 7, 8, 9-year-old, when it happened. So I personally didn't. I don't even remember, like, John Hall and Freddie Shepherd owning the club, like, at all. I don't remember that much. And it's stupid, because the year that Mike Ashley took over was the first year I ever got a season ticket, which is the year Alan Shearer left. And the first game I ever went to was his testimonial. So it's like, I've only known depression. I've only known pure trash, like pure trash Newcastle United. I've never seen any success. Like, I've never seen any, like, since Alan Shearer, there's only been, like, I would even say a handful of, like, phenomenal football players at the club who have gone on to do better things. We haven't really had that. We haven't really had any decent managers at that point. Well, apart from, I would say, since Bobby, the only manager that I've really appreciated is Rafa Benitez. And a lot of people argue, like, Alan Pardew, and he got you 5th. And yes, Pardew, he did. Please. Yes, he did. Alan Pardew did get us 5th. But that relationship between him, he is just so egotistical. That was never going to work in terms of Newcastle fans and him, because Newcastle fans are very look, obviously, I hope no Newcastle fans will mind me saying this, but we're a very working class fan base. That's what Newcastle United's built on. It was built on 2 working class football clubs who came together to create Newcastle United, hence the United. And we thrive, on like passion, on love for the club, on it's a one club city. Like that is our life. When we win, the whole city's buzzing for weeks. Like
100%.
Weekends, nights out are like mental if we win. If we lose, everyone feels it. Obviously, so the Alan Pardew thing was never going to work, and then obviously Rafa Benitez came in and kind of, because he'd already been at Liverpool, which is a very similar, the club, not the club or its success, but in terms of the fan base and how the fans are and how they feel, very relatable in that sense. And he came and got the club, got the fans, and I think that's why, even though yes we won the championship, but even though we didn't really have any success, if you will, we kind of, it was a kick in the teeth when he left, because we knew that he could have done really good things.
Yeah, he could have done a job easy. Yeah,
if Mike Ashley, supported him, which he never did. I mean, it's mental to think that Mike Ashley didn't support Rafa Benitez, and he was picking up players like Dubravka and Fabian Schär for £4 million at the time. And then yet Steve Bruce has been given 100 million. It's like,
that doesn't make sense, does it? That sounds like a certain club that I support, really, when it comes to financial management and buying poor players. But I'm glad we're talking about Newcastle just now. So, I mean, as a Newcastle fan, every season you go in, besides looking to stay up, because I'm sure you're confident you're going to stay up. So really, what is the objection as a fan, not for Steve Bruce, but as a Newcastle fan?
We just want to, as you say, we just want to not be that club that is just every year the race to 40 points, is just what I call it. Like obviously this year it might be slightly different, because I feel like points wise we're probably going to need less to be safe. But it's the race to 40 points, and I don't want that. I want I want 1 year to come 5th. If we come 15th, right, fair enough. Next year come 12th. The year after come 10th. The year after that 8th. Then Europa, like that's how I want. And yes, it's not like a year-on-year thing where you can't just do that in 3 years' time. That's fair enough. But if I see some form of progression and at all, then I'll be grateful. But it just seems we just stagnant is the word that I tend to use. So in the past 3 years now, we've finished on 44 points, 45 points, and 44 points. It's like, where is the progression? Like, there is none to me. That there's just, you're investing £100 million in a squad that cannot progress. It just doesn't make any sense. But obviously that is, I believe, by and large down to Steve Bruce in that respect, because obviously Rafa Benitez got us 10th with a newly promoted squad.
Exactly.
So it can be done. There's no denying it. But Steve Bruce is not the man. He's not the man long term. Whether or not they stick with him at the end of the season, I don't know. They probably will at this point. Mike Ashley just tends to do things like that, like he did with Steve McLaren.
I love your facial expressions. It's went up, it's came down.
Absolute roller coaster. Because if I don't laugh, honestly, I think I'll cry about it. It's just so trash, man. It's just tragic, honestly. Tragic club. And then, like, when the whole Lampard saga at Chelsea happened and stuff, and I know Chelsea's expectations are different. I know Roman Abramovich is completely different in Newcastle, but I was like, bloody hell, you don't know you're born, you lot. Like, you're sitting there moaning about Frank Lampard, and I'm sitting 17th to Steve Bruce. It's like, oh, God, it stresses us out.
You know what? It's true, though, isn't it? You actually don't think of the geographic and economical things of clubs where, like, people have got a cheek to moan about Frank Lampard, and then you look at other clubs that literally are scraping the barrel, or like Newcastle are just there and there as about, and, once every 4 games you're playing really well, and people don't understand that. It's not good for your health, personally. It's not.
And plus, Northeast football is pretty trash, if I'm honest. Not that it's trash in itself, it's just there's a lot of culture and a lot of history in Northeast football, but unfortunately it's just not funded. The opportunities aren't there. And things. And when you're like, our club is obviously if you want, it's like the beacon for Northeast football. We're the only Premier League, Northeast club. And we have seen things like Sunderland happen where a club of the same stature as ours, arguably, obviously, smaller stadium, things like that, but the same stature as ours, it is declined that way. You think you start to think like, oh God, it actually could happen to anybody, and I just really don't want that.
Listen. Why we are going to segue from Newcastle, but while we're here, I just said to the guys, the people in the comments, please, if you're still with us, smash a like. If you're new, subscribe. Got a couple of haters in the comments. We'll start with Jan. Jan saying, how many goals will you put past United this weekend?
Oh, Jan, I literally adore you, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to do that for you.
I'm glad one of us does, anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to be able to do that, which is a shame. I would like to. Maybe if Matty Longstaff plays, you never know. He likes to turn up against Man United.
Wait, that's plenty. That's plenty, Kendall.
We'll see.
Shout out to Jan, though. Shout out to Jan. Big up to Ryan, Liverpool fan. Thoughts on Sunderland, Kendall?
Oh, look. Anyway, they're just a very irrelevant club to me now. League One, they've been stuck there for 3 seasons now. They like to talk about us a lot and, think that we're somehow on the same level as us, but you're not.
They're not League One now?
Yeah, League One. 3 years there. I think this is their 3rd season there now. So, very just irrelevant club to me
now. Last thing on Newcastle. What's your most unpopular opinion? Your unpopular opinion on Newcastle.
Newcastle. That's a tough one. There's probably a lot. To be honest, I'll go with the current one right now because there was shouts of him being, put into the England squad a couple like last season and stuff. But I would personally get rid of Jamal Lascelles in the summer.
What?
He'd be the first player out the door for me.
Are you serious?
Yep.
So you're
obviously aside from the common like Joe Linton and that, he would be. I would arguably from our starting 11, he would be one of the first players I would get rid of in the summer.
Interesting. I did not see that coming. Shout out to Football Capital all the way from Australia. Big up to you, man. Wow, I'm not gonna lie, that's rattled me a little bit. What? I did not expect that.
Yeah, everyone was calling for England, the England squad a few years ago, and I thought,
because he went
for Are you seeing something that I'm not? Like, I mean, yes, he was arguably very good, but in a time where he had a coach like Rafa Benitez, and now he's got a coach like Steve Bruce, and we're seeing really the difference, the complete difference. And yes, you can say that's not his fault, but you're a captain. You should be stepping up in a time where we need this mentality to get out of the relegation battle that we're in. That Steve Bruce tells everyone that we're not in. And you need that mentality to get us out, because when McLaren was sacked and we were horrific, we were in the relegation zone, he stepped up and he did an interview. And this is why I got the captaincy, because he stepped up in an interview and said, we're not good enough. We're going to go down if this carries on. We need to get our heads out of our ass, basically, and step up and start fighting for the club. And he had arguably at a push 2 good seasons, and now if he's in defence, it's worse. Like, it's actually more disorganised, and you may as well just not have him there if he's going to play, because he just doesn't do anything. Like, it's time for change of captaincy. He is, for me, fourth choice centre back. In fact, he's 5th choice for me, because Lejeune is out on loan, who is probably, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, our 2nd best centre back, and he's obviously out on loan. I don't know if it's Ibar or Alaves he's at. I can't remember, but it's one of them two. Fernandez is probably 1st choice centre back for me. Shah 3rd, Kieran Clark 4th, Jamal Lascelles 5th.
Do you know what? I'm still rattled by that. I can't believe you said Lascelles. I'm literally like, I'm trying to be in my head like, have I seen him do that bad? Like, what? Okay, I know. You mentioned Spanish teams there. Prime, shout out to the little bro Prime. Kendall, is Mike Ashley the definition of men are trash? Mike Ashley he's in his own category. I think he's absolutely below trash. He's just, ugh. That's all. Last couple of questions. Luke Williamson, big up to you, man. Thanks for the support. Callum Wilson gone after this year? I don't think so. What about you? I don't think he'll be gone if we get relegated. Well, if we get relegated, then probably another club might want to snap him up. But obviously, it depends what his release clause is and stuff.
I'm
if
not
he had
entirely
one.
sure. Yeah, even if he has one, because before St. Maximin signed his new contract, he didn't have a release clause, but now he does, and I don't even know what his is. So
interesting. Last one from Ryan. Kendall thoughts on Mankila. I thought it was awful when he was playing for us.
He is arguably probably the strongest right back we've got. Obviously now he's out for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And that is a problem because we let Yedlin go to Galatasaray, which for me was like second choice, and now we're stuck with Emil Kraft there, who I just call him Emil Crap because that's what he is. No offense, Emil, if you ever watch this. But yeah, Manquillo a few seasons ago, if you saw him on the starting line, you'd be like, oh God, I can't believe he's playing. But in the past, under Rafa Benitez, he has really, really stepped up. Obviously, I knew him from Atletico Madrid days, but he has really, really stepped up, and it's actually a massive, massive shame to miss him because defensively he is the best in that position there for us.
Okay, so enough about Newcastle, because I know in most of your streams, weekly, daily, we talk about Newcastle. So, but segue to Spain, the capital. Atletico Madrid is your Spanish team. Now, we're segueing back to the trolls because obviously I know you get a lot of hate for supporting them because they say, I've seen some of the tweets, you don't know what you're talking about, you're doing this for attention. And it's funny because I'm in a group chat with you, so I actually see you talk about these teams, this team anyway. And so how did that start, your love for Atletico?
So when I think I was 9, and I was on holiday with my family, and whenever we used to go away, obviously, as I say, my granddad's such a footballing man. He would always take us to a local game if we ever went on holiday. So this time it just happened to be we were actually on holiday near Barcelona, so we went to see a Atletico Madrid game against Barcelona reserves. It was just like a friendly in the summer before the actual season started. And I fell in love with the captain of Atletico Madrid, who I was just like, oh my God, I love him. I was like 9 years old, and I was like, my granddad, I'm going to marry him when I'm older. My granddad was like, sure. That's embarrassing. And the captain obviously was Fernando Torres at the time. So loved him, loved the way he played. I loved his long blonde hair because I was obsessed with Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, if anyone ever remembers that. So like I would say like when I was 10, like my whole vibe was long blonde hair. I couldn't be any more different from that now, by the way, but just as a kid, that was like my whole vibe, long blonde hair, weirdly. So yeah, fell in love with Fernando Torres, and I ended up just following his career. From that
Ryan,
point,
that's quite worrying. Sorry, Kendall. I have a postal flag on my ceiling.
I don't blame you. Don't blame you, Ryan. I would as well if I could. I probably used to. Yeah, and I just followed his career from then. And obviously, 2007, he went to Liverpool, and I was like, great, I can watch him week in, week out now because English football. So I remember the first time, because obviously this was like the first season after I had my season ticket, and we went to the ground when we were playing Liverpool at home, and my dad was like, he literally had to give me a pep talk before I went in because I was that obsessed with Fernando Torres. He was like, right, just calm down. If you see him play or anything, just chill. You'll be fine. And I was like, I'll be fine. And I walked in and I saw him warming up, and I was like, like literally sobbing my eyes out. And I just sobbed the whole game. I was like, I can't believe it. He's right there. And I just sobbed the whole game. And then, yeah, so followed his career from that point, and followed Atletico Madrid with and without him. And I still do. And the past 4 years, I would say I've probably started to watch La Liga more because I do believe that it rivals the Premier League for being one of the best leagues in the world, competitive-wise, especially this year with the decline of like Real Madrid and Barcelona, if you will.
Which makes it more competitive.
Yeah, which makes it way more competitive now. And I think you can pick this goes back to like playing Football Manager, because I think you see players who like are really, really good that you would never like think of, and you go and like buy them on Football Manager and they do a little job for you, like just things like that. And that's why I just loved like La Liga at the time. But yeah, I do enjoy watching La Liga now, especially obviously since Newcastle are so trash. I just keep saying trash that they're so crap that I just have to watch something else.
Do you know like Atletico? I mean, I don't know. Are they still top of the league? I can't remember.
Yeah. So
there you go. So I mean, I said this that there was like a funny tweet. Luis Suarez will sign for Atletico Madrid and they'll probably win the league. And people were laughing. And I said that because all Atletico really need was a proper striker. And when I say a proper striker, one that scores goals. And, I don't like him personally.
No,
Luis
I
Suarez,
don't.
but as a footballer, he's incredible. He's easy top 5, top 9s. Easy. And if anyone disagrees with me, at me. I'm happy to argue. I've got time. Do you know what? We've talked about football, okay? Right, let's segue from that. I love saying segue, and the guys in the group chat rip me for it. Segue. It's coming up for nearly a year in lockdown, right? And we see all these things on social media about be kind. If you can't be kind, don't say nothing at all, right? And we see all the racism on social media. Okay. I don't agree with the whole kick it out stuff and kneeling down because I think actually before that, that's a good question actually from Prime. Jan, don't start this. She's arguing with Ryan. Newcastle versus Atletico. Who are you supporting, Kendall?
Newcastle. Not that we'd ever play Atletico, because we're never going to be in the Champions League.
They may be in the Champions League.
We're never going to be in the Champions League. So at this point, we probably will. We'll probably never ever play them. But yeah, if they were, always Newcastle. Because as I say, I bleed black and white, but I follow Atletico on the side as like my second team, if you will.
But listen, that's good. That's good. I mean, as they'd probably say, that's a good last. Did I get that right, or did I butcher it?
No, it was all right. It wasn't too bad, to be fair. I used to get it worse. Obviously, when I went to uni in Edinburgh, so I used to get it worse. And everyone used to be like, "Are you Scottish?" And I'm like, "No." Even Scottish people would be like, "Are you Scottish?" I'm like, "No."
It's you can tell the difference. Like, it's funny because anytime I go abroad, they're like, "Are you from Newcastle?" I'm like, "No, Scotland." Well, you all sound the same. I was like, "No, we don't." Like,
no,
100% we don't. So obviously, like we've seen the social media stuff. For all the black players are getting racially abused. It's like a thing now. Okay. As a white woman, okay, I'm not even going to talk about your child yet. As a white woman, you have black football players. Why I man? Why I man the tune like I can't wait.
Not too bad. It was all right, actually. I'll take that. Normally people like try to act like they sound Scouse or something when they try and do it.
like Kendall, you've got black players playing for your football club, and God forbid, obviously, it happens to them. God forbid, it's happened to everyone. But Kendall, what do you think about it? When I say what do you think about, I already know what you think about racism because we spoke about this.
Yeah.
But it seems to be a trend now. Like. Your football team lose, you racially abuse the black people.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts? And also, I need to ask you another question, but I'll ask you after this one, though. What's your thoughts on it?
I think it's a disgrace, first of all. I think that any form of racism is stupid because how can you hate somebody based on how much melanin they've got in the skin? Like, explain that to me. It makes absolutely zero sense. On a logical basis, it makes absolutely zero sense going back like years and years and years. But from obviously this sort of standpoint, I find a lot of the time it's a jealousy thing. Okay. And it's like an envious thing. So like a lot of, if you want to say white teenage boys, look at these, these black footballers who are, they're wavy, they're talented at football. They get, they wear all the designer clothes and they get a lot of attention and things like that. And it's like almost like a projection sort of thing. They like project the jealousy and it turns into obviously racial comments.
Yes.
The whole obviously like the kick it out, the kneeling down, I think is in British football specifically, it is an empty gesture because British media is racist. Yeah, the British media is inherently racist. British people, it's kind of like a subconscious thing, which makes racism harder in this country to kick out because it is so subconscious and it is like ingrained in people's everyday lives. And whether or not people want to admit it, a lot of like the generation before ours, are racist just because it was kind of like the environment that they grew up in, the media we read, you know, things like that was racially biased. So I just think it's an empty gesture, because if you really cared about it, you know, the FA, if you really cared about it as people on a personal level, you would introduce heftier fines, you would introduce heftier bans. And a fine's not going to do frig all, let's be honest, because
exactly.
Remember when the obviously the England team were racially abused, like that whole country, like the FA, not FA from that country, but their country's footballing body only got fined like, it wasn't even that much. I want to say like it was really minimal. That's not going to be nothing to them, and it's not going to deter them in the future. Like, if you really care about this and you really care about people's well-being and racism actually being kicked out of the game, you would introduce lifetime bans for any people, any person, any player that is involved in racism. Like obviously, as we saw with the whole Istanbul PSG thing, when the fourth official was deemed to be racist, and even managers like Thomas Tuchel were coming out saying like, "Oh, well, you don't know what really happened." Like,
that's bullshit.
Why would someone sit there and make up that someone's being racist? It's absolutely stupid. They just wouldn't do that. What are they going to gain from that? They're not. And like this, in this day and age, it's like Big Brother. There's cameras, there's microphones, there's TV screens everywhere, and you're telling me you can't discover, especially when it happened, you know, when certain fans were allowed back in stadiums, and I think it was probably Millwall. And how can you, there was only 1,000 fans there, so how can you not pick out who was racist? Like that's when it gets covered up for me, and that's the problem, because it's like they don't really care.
They don't care. And you know what, I know I talk about racism and discrimination and stuff, and the reason I keep talking about it is because I'm a black man, and because the conversation needs to be normalized. So, you know, if you do watch me, that's what I'm going to be talking about. If you don't like it, I suggest you learn. And the reason I say that is because, do you know what really, really annoyed me, Kendall, is that the referee that squared up to a player, okay, less than 24 hours later, the FA have changed the rule to say if any referee does that to any player, they will be suspended or whatever, fined or banned. Now, Kendall, that is just a referee who had probably a bad heated moment towards a football player, right? Now, let's be honest, referees go for a lot of abuse and stuff anyway. Okay, so he's reacted. But to then go out of your way to change a rule to protect the referees, yet the last how many decades to protect the black players. Let's not even just say the black players. I'm going to throw a spanner in here. The Irish players. Now, I think it's McLean.
Yeah, James McLean, yeah.
James McLean, who doesn't get any noise, any media. He's one of the most racially abused players.
Yeah, it's mostly because he refuses to wear poppy, mostly.
Yes, it is. Yeah, like we know that. But it's still racism. I'm waving my pencil here like some teacher. Sorry. But like, you know, and I don't understand it. How can you come out with a rule for referees, but with racism, we just act like, you know, people will learn. And I don't want to talk too much on it because there's other stuff I want to ask you. Do you think if we start hitting the people with their money, so for example, if your fans are racist, the club gets deducted points and deducted millions of pounds? Because I think, let's hit them where it hurts, right?
Yeah. Then
you will learn. Because if me and you know, if we're racist towards each other, we'll get arrested. There's a charge, the criminal record. That means potentially less job opportunities. So we know, I know we're not racist, but we know not to do that because it's going to affect us. Do you know what I mean? So if we say to these clubs, listen, if your fans are going to get racist, we're going to dock you 6 points. I think the clubs will do a lot more. What do you think?
Oh, Yeah, they would, because it would upset them. But this is why, because the FA and, PG Moller, however you say it, the referee association and stuff, because racism probably doesn't directly affect them, because as we've seen, there is not a lot of black and ethnic minority officials in the game. I mean, look, there's even only one woman. Do you know what I mean? So
and they make noise about her as well.
Yeah. So it doesn't directly affect them, racism, which is why they are not as inclined to react on a level as serious as that, which is pathetic, because it doesn't matter whether it affects you or not. It's affecting people every single day. It's affecting people's lives. So to me, you're completely right. Until there starts being punishments that are serious and that affect money, which is what unfortunately football runs on these days, until it affects that, things will not be taken seriously.
Yeah.
They just won't. Look at how much noise was made about the whole taking the knee. It's a 5-second thing that people want to do before a game. Whether or not it's become an empty gesture now is irrelevant. At the beginning, at the time when it was a whole Black Lives Matter movement, and it was so important to bring to the game because racial abuse is so heightened in the game, it's people were twisting about a 5-second thing that people did. That didn't affect your life. It didn't affect you watching the game of football. It affected nothing, yet they still complained about it. So it's just find a thing to complain about. And unfortunately, whether or not the intentions were there and they were good with the whole, the Black Lives Matter and the taking the knee, it's actually unfortunately encouraged more racism, sadly.
Yeah, which is weird.
Yeah, because it's giving people something racially to mourn about.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely ridiculous. It really, really is pathetic, and that's sad to me that you can't even bring awareness to such a cause in 2020. I mean, we're in 2021 now. In 2021, we are not modernized as a society enough to have to let this happen. Still, it's just really it's ridiculous to me. But yeah, absolutely agree. There needs to be heavier fines, not fines, punishment.
No, punishment, yeah. Until they severely punish people, it's going to carry on. And unfortunately, people like ourselves, people in the comments and stuff, is a battle that, because, the beautiful thing, people in the comments range from mixed race, Asian, Caribbean, African, yourself, white male, white female, and then there's myself, black male. That's the beauty of the whole world.
I love this community. I've met so many different people, and it's amazing. I love learning about different cultures. I love learning about different things and people's history and stuff. And it's even, not even getting into a deep conversation, but a lot of, I would even say black, and I would even stretch to a lot of ethnic minority history is deleted now, and because of white people. That to me is it's a very, very sad state of affairs, and that's why I personally will go out of my way to learn about a culture and, try and find different things out, because I think, a lot of it is so important to people's identity that unfortunately, racism just strips it away, and it makes you not want to be proud of, where you're from, because you don't want to be subject to abuse because of that. And it's ridiculous, and it's so disheartening. Even for me to watch it as a white woman who will never experience racial abuse, probably, even as that, it's so sad for me to see. So, until the people who, the people who add to racism make the change. So white people, I want to obviously single out white people specifically, but I know it isn't just, it isn't directed to the white community. It does stretch outwards. But until white people make that change, there will be no change, because we are the cause of it. Not me specifically, but until that is, it just will. It unfortunately will never change. And the media is so inherently racist, as I've said, that it is just drilled into our subconscious, unfortunately.
Do you know the thing I said? I got when we done a protest. We had the protest up in Black Lives Matter protest in Edinburgh, and I got interviewed by this reporter, and it wasn't it was just this woman with a camera. She was like, "I'm from so and so. What do you think?" Blah blah. And one of the things I remember saying is just that we are not asking for revenge. We are asking to be treated equally. How can you be angry at the blacks and all anyone that's visible ethnicity when we didn't start racism.
Yeah. Because a lot of racists are stupid and they think that you're trying to get ahead of them when it's not. You're asking for equal opportunities. You're asking for equal respect. You're asking for not have to do twice the work of a white person to get the job you want, or in the job you want to get the respect you deserve and the praise you deserve. You're asking for not to be racially singled out when, as Demba Ba was in a match, you're not asked to be defined by your skin color in a negative manner. You need to be proud of your skin color, and it's like, that's all you're asking for. You're not asking for to be better than anybody else. You're not asking to have more opportunities because of your skin color. You're asking to have the same amount of opportunities as white people because of your skin color. It's just, I just don't understand why people don't understand that. It's just annoying to me.
Do you remember the Aldi advert, the Christmas one, and it was the carrots?
Oh yes.
Yeah, I remember. And do you remember the Sainsbury advert? Because they used the black family when they were sitting around dinner. And I saw all the racial comments, people saying that I thought it was supposed to be a white Christmas, blah, blah, blah. And I thought to myself, Aldi have a family of orange carrots. Not that carrots can be any other colour, but carrots, Kendall. Not a word, not a pin drop or anything. And I just think to myself, do people really, really hate black people that much? And the reason I'm asking is because change your channel. People went as far as says, I will never shop in Sainsbury's. But then,
I love it when Sainsbury's came out and said, okay, bye.
Yeah,
we don't care.
You know what I mean?
You know that Stephen Smith movie where he's like, I'm here to tell you, we don't care. That's literally, that's just, okay.
Do you know what I mean? And then I break it down like this, right? All these people saying, can't believe they've done this with the black family. I guarantee you, at the weekend, they will not cook. They will order a takeaway. Whether it's a Chinese, Indian, whatever cuisine, it won't be, they're not ordering steak pie and flipping beans or something. And I want to wrap on this. I want to be like, why are they confident to say this so loudly?
Tell you why. Because things like when the BBC used the N-word in its everyday news bulletin, people will look at that and think, BBC is saying it, even though it's in a negative manner. Like, they are using it. It's normalised. I'll just say it. It won't be as bad because the BBC are allowed to say it. Yeah. Things like that. That's the problem. Because as I say, the media influence is so strong, especially in this country. Like, people take like things like the scum as gospel. It's like strange. The media influence is so strong in this country, and because, as I said, it is so subconscious in this country, it is a lot harder to define. It's a lot harder to single out. Because the media are using it in there every day. Look, they give people like Katie Hopkins a platform who is beyond racist, and it's weird because it's like for attention. I don't even think she actually truly believes what she's saying. I think she just says it for attention. They give people like Piers Morgan a platform, who again has been, in the past has done horrendous things.
Flip flop though, isn't he?
Yeah,
because he'll say stuff in the past what we know of, but then he'll say things like, if Andy Murray can be knighted, how can Lewis Hamilton not be, and stuff like that.
That's what I mean. He just says whatever things fit the narrative at the time. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But that's the problem in this country. They give people platforms who are racist, and it allows for the everyday racist to, be more confidently racist, be more. And that's the main problem for me until, we start getting respected. Like when Alex Scott and stuff got the whole
oh my
the job,
goodness,
there was just ridiculous amounts of racism. Like Micah Richards, I know he didn't get as much abuse in terms of Alex Scott because she was unfortunately black and a woman, which was just is unfortunately in this football industry. It's two of the the things that get you.
I'll say it for you. Being black and being female, being a black female is a double whammy. And unfortunately, I said this when I had Anita on, couple months back. I said, stopping female people from opportunities is one of the most things that stops a woman from opportunity. It's not just being a woman; it's also a woman of color.
Yeah.
You know, so they don't even like you that you're
Shout out
female.
to Anita and, you know, the platform she gives Black women, ethnic minority women to speak about football in specifics, which is like a whole thing where people, you know, to shout out to her because like all of the ethnically diverse people I've met during this, like their Lambs is another one. People like that, Mel, Maya, like just everyone like that. Like honestly, the love that I have for them, because I find it hard as a woman in general. Do you know what I mean? And to be, I can't even imagine, especially in this country, how hard it must be for like a woman, a Black woman, a Asian woman to come into this industry. I cannot physically imagine how hard that must be. So shout out to every single one of them. There's obviously more that I know of along the way, but yeah, shout out to every single one of them.
To everyone, you know, I was actually speaking to Mel today, and we were actually talking about racism and politics and stuff. And obviously we talked about Patel. We're not going to go into it and stuff. And we mentioned Hopkins. So it's just funny that it was interesting that you'd mention her. But listen, we're going to spin it. We're going to end it off on a positive vibe because that's what we do. Okay. So for Kendall, 2021, okay, you are the host of the unnamed all-female show so far.
I'm still unnamed. I just, for some reason, I can't just get something that sticks. Like I need something that sticks and like represents the show and like just I can't get something that sticks yet.
Comments if you've got any questions for Kendall, please get them up to her. So my last question to you is 2021, okay, what should we be looking out for regarding yourself? What is the aim? What's the target? Because I remember last time I spoke to you, flipping heck, that was what, October?
Yeah,
when we had this last
now. How quick was
right?
Time,
you know? And that was only like a brief stream. And you know, you said to me what to do, this, and that, and like I'm just watching you, being like, okay, and look at you now. Shout out to everyone in the cut, Mr. United in the building.
You've got a cheeky mention before, and I don't know how long you've been watching it, but I did mention you before. in terms of this whole YouTube thing, because you were one of obviously the first people that got me on the terrace, so yeah.
Any chance of a like, Aaron?
Yeah.
Hey, big up Lambs. Oh, big up Lambs, obviously. Lambs is my sister. Seriously. Big up to her.
Absolutely beautiful inside now.
And also big shout out to Laurie. Listen, this guy showed me so much love from day one. And I can only hope I can repay the love back to him, man. So thanks so much. So Prime, shut up, man. Free the girl. Just like
Prime and his questions, man. He's like literally 50 Cent, man. 21 questions. Slow down.
So like, okay, so what's the future? Because you're a host on a big fan channel, YouTube fan channel. And for me, it's like, okay, the sky's the limit. But so what are you hoping? Or is there anything that is coming out?
Well, nothing in specific, obviously in the pipeline. Just want to keep growing the show, obviously make it bigger on a Friday. You know, get some amazing guests on, divulge
about that show. Where can we find the show? Out of curiosity.
9 p.m. on a Friday on the Football Terrace. You'll find us there. As we say, still as of unnamed. So if anyone has any good ideas, shoot them my way. KJ has been thinking of some, and I like some of his ideas. So we'll see. Maybe we'll have one before tomorrow and we can debut it on the show. We'll see. But just want to keep on growing, keep on. Obviously, the Football Terrace got big things coming. We're obviously going to be a part of that, and forever grateful for, you know, that opportunity to do that. Currently on with signing for an agency to represent me professionally. So hopefully that brings more content, more opportunities. If I can do this full time, my life will be complete. I've always said Sky Sports News is like my dream job. Whether or not I'll ever get to Sky Sports News is a different thing. But I want to be like the chunks of like football, like you know what I mean, like that sort of like
100%.
personality where
100%.
you're not educated to a level of journalists, reporters, but you have the personality, the contacts, the love for something to make yourself like that. I will never be on Chunks' level. I'm not gonna lie, he's amazing. Shout out him in young.
Listen. Wait, hold up though. Wait, you need to remember, 4 years ago, Chunks was working in Cineworld.
Well, that is true. That is very true.
You can't say you're not, because look, this is what I say to people. Everyone will have somewhere to get to, and people see Chunks now. But if you read about him, he was going to work. He quit his job. He bet on himself, bought equipment and stuff. It's all about betting on yourself, and also working hard. And this is what I find now, Kendall. Everyone wants to get there, don't they? Yeah. They want to reach the top, but they don't want to do the work, to get up there. So no, 100%. I mean, definitely bet on yourself. You've got to,
honestly, if I could do this full time and just make it a thing where my daughter has a fantastic life, because obviously she's always like my forefront. She's always make things better for her. And obviously this past year has been so tough because yes, although I have had time to spend with her, I've been missing out on that big wage that I used to be on, that full-time wage. So it's been very difficult in that sense. And she's always the forefront, always want more opportunities for her, always want to make sure she has the best life and that she can look maybe even at me. Like if I could ever be some sort of role model to her and look and think despite adversity and despite, things that are going on in the world, like you can do something that you want to do and that you love to do. Then I would that would just be my life dream. If she ever looked to me as a role model, then that would just be my life dream.
I think that's beautiful, and it just shows that not only can you just dream, you also work hard. And people don't realize that. It's I saw something today about wearing brands and stuff. There's no need to try and dress for the community when you've got a family at home to feed.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why we are doing the hours. Putting in the streams, planning the content, thinking about what we can talk about, thinking about everything. Because, let's be honest, shout out to Sabayos TV. Hashtag but that's the thing, though, isn't it? Like, shout out Cobby Red 99. Everyone, make sure you go and subscribe to him. Good geezer. This is the thing, though, Kendall, isn't it? People don't see the behind the stuff, do they? They don't see, like, the prep. They don't see, like, obviously, we're hosts for TFT, but it's tough, right, being a host, because you need to plan the content. You can't just jump on screen and be like, yeah, so what? Do you know what I mean? Like,
no, there's things that go into it, yeah.
It's tough, and I think that's why I think when we do see someone like Chunks and Philly and Harry Pinero, we appreciate them a bit more because we get it, we understand, and like I see them now and I think, wow, why not? And I think that's the thing now, the way the world without it, people not liking it, the world is being more diverse, whether they like it or not. There's a lot of women in careers now that probably wouldn't have got a job, like we said, Alex Scott, who are creating the path. There's other platforms. And, this is a funny thing. I'm going to big you up, Kendall, but you have a platform now on TFT where other females are going to look at you and be like, okay, I'm going to use her as a template, or I'm going to watch her, learn from her. And I don't think you realize how powerful that is, because from me, outside looking in, well, as well as inside looking out, because technically I'm a part of the team. But like, do you know what I'm trying to say to you though? And I think like the message that you're sending with the likes of Anita, all the other female YouTubers that we've mentioned, it's a powerful message to say that like you can do this. And I just want to finish up on there to say you can do this. Guys, please smash a like. Kendall, household rules, please tell everyone where they can find you on your socials.
You'll find me at Kendall Rowan on everywhere: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Obviously, you'll also find me on the terrace on Midnight Vibes, Wednesdays and Sundays, and also on a Friday, which is the show that I host at 9 p.m. Then you'll see me here and there and in between, to be honest, because I pretty much stream every day. It's actually mad now. But yeah, you'll find me somewhere, whether you like it or not. I'll probably be there. So sorry about that.
Do you know what, Kendall? Quick question. I've not even asked your score predictions for Sunday. What is your score predictions for Sunday?
I can't see us scoring personally, even though I'll probably say that, your two centre-backs are probably Lindelof and Maguire together, probably the weakest part of your team. Not weak, but weakest part of the team.
100%.
So I think 2-0 Man United, unfortunately. And every time I say this and I say we're going to get beat, I always get the score right. Did it against Chelsea, got it right. And I've said 2-0 against Man United now. So I'm just hoping that my judge, as KJ says, doesn't go as far as this. But yeah, I think 2-0 Man United, unfortunately. Just with Wilson out, don't know where we're going to get a goal from. I really don't.
Oh, is he injured? Is he injured?
He's out for 8 weeks.
Wow, boy. Okay, yeah, we're definitely beating you. We're definitely beating you.
Thanks.
Yeah, like you ain't even got a striker. Like, what? Are you serious? No, yeah. I think to touch base on Man United very sharply. Obviously, good win tonight and stuff. What I didn't like was that most of the players that are probably going to start on Sunday played more than an hour, and we were in control of the game. And like Bruno came off after 18 minutes, and I'm thinking he's going to play Sunday. Just give him a rest. You know what I mean?
You didn't really need him on that long.
Exactly. And obviously, Bailly played, no injuries, and I just think, oh man, is he gonna play Lindelof? I think he will play Lindelof. But if you're not playing, Callum Wilson, Andy Carroll's probably going to play. All right, so we need someone. He's going to bully Lindelof. He'll probably bully Harry. But, I mean, as long as we score a couple of goals before it gets to any of that, we'll be fine. 100%.
Not looking forward to it. Absolutely dreading it. Really, I'm dreading it. February's been horrendous for our fixtures. I mean, apart from Southampton, which was on my birthday, amazingly we won. But, yeah, it's been awful for fixtures for us.
We're playing at 7 o'clock, aren't we? 7 o'clock kickoff.
On Sunday?
It's a 7 o'clock kickoff, I think. So, it is. Let me know if you want to do a watch-along for it.
Yeah, 7 o'clock. Oh, God, imagine that. 25 minutes in, I'll be like, look, I'm going.
But listen, so what? It's your boy Bitz and Bobz, and she is that girl, Kendall. Thank you so much for tuning the fat with us, everyone. It has been another episode of Bitz and Bobz Meets. Make sure you smash a like. If you're new, please subscribe. Peace and love to everyone. Take care and have a great weekend.